All right, looks like we got audio now. Hey, everybody. I was going to say you have Zini to thank for this one. All right, that's enough of that. You would not believe how hot this thing actually is on top of your head. You notice I made the style with the lightning rod. Got to earth all the crazy. Well, that was fun. We're already in the process of getting water change done. I began before we got started, but I didn't begin too soon before we got started. So we still have a lot of draining to do. But we are going to work on the 125 tonight. I'm going to get in there and vac some crud out of the corners and whatnot. But first, I want to get the goldfish fed. I have seen plenty of activity in the tower. My first experience with a fish going in the tower was one of the big koi went up in it, and then it got freaked out and was getting really distressed. It was thrashing around in circles and banging up against the top. I was really close to just pulling the thing out, but it eventually, I ran in the other room to get my camera because I wanted to try to get it on film real quick, for a moment before I let it free. And by the time I got back in, it had figured it out, and I haven't seen any issues with it since. So it didn't take them long. They figured out how it works. But we're going to try first by putting some food up inside here and see if that doesn't get some of them at least going up in there. And they should by now. They're getting pretty used to it. It's been in there for a couple of days. We put it in Friday night if you're just joining us. The only time I've seen the koi in there was that one time, and you really get a sense of how big those koi are getting when they swim up into that tower. They almost go across the length of it or the width of it. So the goldfish are the ones that tend to go up in it more than the koi do, but we'll see. Maybe over time they'll get used to drifting up in there. I think they've also figured out that if they just wait below it, the food does eventually drift down. Yeah, we got a goldfish swimming around in there now, at least. So I do kind of like it, and I've just sort of started tossing some ideas around about how to improve it. The stand it's sitting on is definitely not suitable for long-term usage. It was a perfect proof of concept. It clearly works. It's cool. I like it. I think it'll be a neat addition to the pond. And again, at any point in the future, we can always just take it down. So I think I'm going to try to find something that's a little more easily accessible. Right now, they have to swim up through the bottom of the trash can, and I could only cut out what the shape of the bottom is, and it's more or less rectangular. So as they swim down, they either, if they come on the long end of the trash can, there's still a little bit of a plastic lip between the clear plastic and the trash can plastic. And so if they're swimming down the glass, as it were, they hit that little lip and they could scrape themselves on it. And then if they're on the wide side of the trash can, there's a significant lip as they come down. So I want it to just be like 4 legs holding it up. I'm just not exactly sure how to do it. I might get 4 lengths of like 2-inch PVC, something that'll have some strength to it, and then just cut notches in it. And then I can just set the edge of the plastic down into the notches and just have it more or less freestanding. So that's a consideration. I think it might be a little wobbly if I do it like that. Maybe I'll make a base, a square base, and then just have 4 individual legs sticking up off of it or something. All right, let me see who we got joining us. We got Art Knight. We got Mike and Mike. We got Missy's Fishies Imports. Hello, welcome aboard. Don't think I've seen you before. I started off the live stream with a tinfoil hat on my head just for laughs. I think it was successful. I know I got a laugh out of it. I was laughing about it 5 minutes before we went live. All right, I'll give everybody some real food this time since I only put a limited amount in the tower. And we're going to do a little bit of work in the 55-gallon gourami tank tonight. I want to get the glass wiped down. We need to clear out the filter intake, and that's about all we're going to do. Probably do a water change on that soon. I want to get in there with the actual open-ended siphon and suck a bunch of that cyanobacteria and Java moss and stuff out of there. But tonight we're just going to worry about getting the glass cleaned down. Bonk, hello. Yeah, Missy, I've had a lot of people come and go over the years, so if I don't remember your name from that long ago, I apologize. But again, you can't really blame me. More just working on some super silver haze with some hash oil soaked into it. Yeah, the magnification aspect of it's kind of weird. Half the time I'll see out of the corner of my eye as I'm walking past, it'll look like right now like there's fish swimming around in it. And when I look over at it directly, I realize it's not fish in it, it's just fish behind it. And they get all magnified and weird looking. And then, of course, when they swim into it, they look all magnified and weird as well. So, all right, let's get on to feeding the next tank. And once we're done feeding that, we'll go ahead and get the glass wiped down and we'll start doing some actual work on that. But we got plenty of draining left to do. That gives you an idea what that glass looks like. It's pretty grungy. So we'll get in there. Maybe tonight I'll use the melamine sponges and really give it a good scrubbing. But in the meantime, let us feed the goldfish here. And tonight we'll just do their sinking pellets for them. All right, and we might cut in a mushroom bag open tonight. I looked at it again this morning, and it doesn't look like it's changed a whole lot. I think it's pretty much ready to go. Remember, the last one I did, I just opened it up on day 30. I didn't know what I was looking at. I just went by the calendar. And so I cut it open at 1 month exactly. And so it's been about 6.5 weeks since I started it. And I swear it hasn't changed its outward appearance in the last week or so. I'm waiting for it to become completely white. And it's just not doing it. It still looks mostly white. And that's how it looked when I did the first batch. So I think it's ready to go. I'm waiting to see if Rosie shows up tonight, at least the mushroom Rosie. I got 2 Rosies. One is growing mushrooms and the other one is not. So if Mushroom Rosie shows up tonight, I'll cut the bag open on camera. I'll show you how I do it. Never thought about a sturgeon, but I have actually seriously, and I'm not making a joke out of this, I have actually seriously considered getting a gar. I thought a gar in my 125 would be amazing for a little while, but ultimately I just decided not to. But I can get a gar down at House of Tropicals that's, 5 or 6 inches long. And I just think they're one of the coolest looking fish. Any fish that's in that still looks like a dinosaur, like the sturgeon, definitely qualifies into that category. That's an awesome fish just because it looks like a friggin' dinosaur. And the garfish looks like something out of a prehistoric nightmare. It's like a fish alligator. Down in Florida, I used to see big alligator gars, and they are terrifying looking. They're harmless. They don't go after people. They're just fish eaters. but they look just absolutely monstrous. Their scales make them look armor plated. They've got this insane mouth with these vicious teeth on it that stick up through the fucking top of their, roof of their bone of their mouth. They're crazy. So I have considered a gar, but thought it was probably a not a good idea in the long run. So we opted not to get the gar. But how cool would that have been? I'm hoping Steve shows up tonight too, because I got learned some stuff about my nicotine vape stuff today. Yeah, Oreo shake would be a good way of describing it. It's mostly white, but you can still see black speckly substrate through the whiteness. It looks like white speckles are covering the substrate. It doesn't look like a solid mass, like a loaf of bread, or a lump of dough. And that's kind of what I was waiting for, to turn into what looked like a lump of dough. And I don't think it's going to. I think it's ready to go the way it is. Eugene, hello. Yeah, the Berkshires are neat. I do like those too, but I've never really had a tank that was appropriate for one of them. But back in the day, I seriously considered one, because when I really first started getting into fish keeping, I will admit I bought a lot of fish that were probably beyond my skill set at that point. Well, let's be honest, was definitely beyond my skill set at that point. But I was really into the oddball fish. I didn't want a tank that looked like everybody else's tank, because of course I don't. And so I got my, African butterfly fish, and I got the Tenopoma, and I got a puffer, and a Bashir is one of the ones I really looked at. I looked at an oxalotl, really wanted an oxalotl, but to set a tank up properly for them isn't really the kind of tanks I like to set up. And, with the Bashir, you need the sandy bottom, and you can't have any small fish in there. And so at this point, the way my tanks are now set up, I couldn't add a fish like that to any of my existing setups. And so if I did want something like that, I'd have to wait until either I slowly let everything die off out of a tank until I had a few fish I could remove and put somewhere else, and then I'd have a tank available. Or if I ever had some kind of catastrophe and collapsed and crashed a whole tank and everybody died or something, not out of the question. I haven't had a bad thing like that happen in a long time, but I have done it before. Well, we'll cut mine open tonight, Mike, and have a look at it. And I'll show you how I open mine up and everything. This is still your first bag, isn't it? All right, let's get some. Actually, let me make sure I've got some melamine sponges cut in advance. And if I do, we'll get right to the wiping the glass down. And it doesn't look like I do. Oh, I thought I did, but apparently I do not. So let me go cut up some melamine sponges. In fact, I will, if this razor knife's not a rusty piece of shit. That's a rusty piece of shit. It's fine for opening boxes, but let's get something a little sharper for what I'm going to do. All right, this one I think will work. All right. I'm just going to do one demo for you so you can see how I do it. It works a lot easier if you set it on a surface like I usually set it on my washing machine. But I get these melamine sponges, which are effectively, that's a magic eraser is the brand name. But if you buy it generic, it's called a melamine sponge. There's nothing in it. It's not impregnated with anything. If you read the instructions, it will say wet to activate. That just means it's dry, and like the way you wouldn't use a dry sponge, you'd get a sponge wet, squeeze it out, and then you'd use it. That's what that means when this says get wet to activate. So there's nothing in it. There's nothing that's going to hurt your fish or anything like that. But what I do is I start by cutting it in half down the middle. I'll do that here on a solid surface on the edge of the tank. And I know some people say they don't like it, but I really love the way it feels when the razor blade slides through this material. It just feels really neat to me. I don't know. Other people say it feels like fingernails on a chalkboard, but you decide. And so then I cut it this way, and I cut 3 slices out of it. Let's see if I can do this without injuring myself. And again, this is a lot easier to do when you're sitting on a surface. So I slice it that way, and I get these little pads. And so for every melamine sponge, I get 6 pads out of it. And I buy like 100-pack of these sponge. I don't know what, it's been so long since I bought them. I couldn't even tell you what they cost anymore. But it's not expensive. It's not like you're buying the name brand Magic Eraser. But that's what we're going to use. Let me get a couple more of these cut because it's definitely going to take more than one to get this tank cleaned up. And so pull them apart, and then we got a bunch of these little pads. So let's get to the wipings down. I got a good music for you tonight too. My wife turned me on to a new band I'd never heard before. And I will say they formed after the year 2000. So look at me listening to contemporary music. That's actually, well, they actually still are a band and they're still around, but they started in 2002. So I guess for me that would be considered contemporary since most everything I listen to is 70s and 80s. I feel like I'm getting avant-garde if I listen to some 90s stuff. All right, let me see where I was. It's up here somewhere. Yeah, the Tanapoma was definitely had a big mouth on it. Hey, Joe. All right, yeah, let's get some work done, and then we'll get that my mushroom bag cut open. Mike, I thought you said that you were going to have an otter in your tank. I was thinking that would be awesome, a blackwater tank with an otter in it. Well, thank you, Vonk. I appreciate that. I also looked at the baby whales. I did have an elephant nose fish briefly, and I had that black knife fish for a while too. But the whales are neat. I really like the whales. Right, I said hello, Eugene. Yeah, the mormyrids, like all of the mormyrids, are awesome. Well, I did wear the tinfoil hat for Zini tonight, even though it's actually aluminum foil, not tinfoil. But I did not do Zini's other desire. I had a funny idea for the title of my live stream tonight, and I decided I wasn't going to do it. But I did think it was funny. All right, let's get in there and start melamine sponging the glass down. Oh, yeah, I should probably razor blade this glass down. Holy crap. Oh, I hate doing this with a razor blade. It's so time consuming. That's a lot of square inches to cover. Considering a razor blade is like an inch wide, that's a lot of up and downs, a lot of stroking. I think the melamine will get us there in the end. It may not be perfect, but it'll be pretty clean. It's pretty grungy. Let me turn your light back on so you can actually see what's going on. All right, let's get another sponge at the ready. Yeah, if I had used the filter material like I normally do, that would not have got this glass anywhere near clean like this. This is ridiculous. I still may need to get in there with the razor blade. I know you can't really see it because it's fine, fine dusting, but there is still green all over this glass. It's just not coming off, even with the melamine. Fish are starting to get a little upset. I still want to get in there and get the vac into some grungy spots, but I want to get the glass at least clean enough for you to be able to see in there while I'm working on it. I can always come back when we're refilling it and get the glass cleaner. Get the glass cleaner, get it? All right, let's call that a good preliminary wiping. Now let's get in there and gravel vac some of this stuff. All right, watch out, everybody. Here I come. There's a couple of spots that really just collect the grunge. I don't know how well you can see what's getting slurped out of there, but it's a bunch of stuff coming out. And I'm going to try to get down the far end underneath where the power head is and whatnot. But there's enough stuff back here that this is going to take a few minutes to get all this out. There's a whole bunch of stuff underneath of that log. I just can't get it because it's underneath of that log. And the pleco poop is in such big pieces. I usually have to break that up. It's too heavy to go up the vac. That's all that pleco poop. It gets up in there. It's just too heavy to go down or get drawn up. I gotta do it like that to get it out of there. All right, calm down, everybody. I'm going to switch the water around in a minute. All right, I guess we're not going to have time to get to the corners because they're already starting to get panicky. I usually like to do a little more of a water change than this, but I'm also usually not standing right in front of the tank. That tends to get them a little more freaked out. All right, let's go turn the water around, and then I'll finish getting in there, and we'll get some more glass wiped down. Make sure all that stuff's run through before I reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. So I actually did have a fish keeping topic thing on my mind today that we can chat about. It's not like it's going to be a long conversation or anything, just a thought. But I did think it was funny, thinking about human psychology and the way people's brains work and how we perceive our world. Humans are weird. And Frazzini talking about like feeling like you've seen a television show, but it's a show that just came out. I've done that before too. That's the deja vu thing when you feel like you've done something before, been there before. But I remember once when I was a kid, I understand what happened as I grew older or whatever. When I was a kid, um, I was in a toy store and they had these little toy like spacecraft thing that were kind of shaped like an airplane, but really rounded and kind of thick bodied in the middle. And these big doors opened on the back of it and everything. It was really neat looking. It had three wheels, like landing gear, like an airplane and everything. And I wanted one so bad, but my mother never bought it for me. And every time I went to a toy store, I always looked at this toy aircraft, spacecraft thing. You know, had USA and the flag on it and everything. It was clearly a NASA, you know. And then years later, I watched the very first space shuttle launch. And I was like, oh my God, like that's the thing. That's that toy. Like, how did they know? And I couldn't get my head around, like, did NASA copy this toy, or did like the people that made the toy have like some vision of the future? Like, how did they fucking know that there was going to be a spacecraft exactly like that? Obviously now, like, plans for the space shuttle, if you were an adult and reading the newspaper and stuff, you'd probably been well aware of the upcoming space shuttle for years. But as a 6-year-old, you know, seeing this toy in the store, all I knew was it was a really cool looking spaceship. And then, holy shit, a few years later, like, there it was, like, launching into space. I couldn't believe that shit. It's an amazing world we live in. It's funny. I was going to say, I'm old enough to remember when we used to, you know, launch rockets into space before we, you know, we're flying space shuttles and whatnot. And then I thought about it for a second. And I guess we're come full circle. We're back to launching rockets into space instead of we discontinued the space shuttle and went back to the old rockets. So, like I said, it's a funny old world. All right, let's get in there and do some more wiping on this glass because it's definitely got a lot of really grown on grunge. All right, everybody, calm down. I'll go down this way. Oh, you're going to come down this way too now? Trying to stay away from you. I was looking at my container in the bathroom where I separated the wood from the tank, and I put it in one container, and then I left the Java in the other, just to see if the Java fern and the Java roots and stuff like that. We still got audio? Okay. I just wanted to see if I got somebody messaging me like crazy on the Discord, so I don't know if we've lost audio or somebody's trying to get a hold of me or something, but hang on a minute. I'll go check. All right, what is all this about? It's email. And then a message and some kind of alert. I thought I was getting a lot of times if I'm in the middle of a live stream or something and the audio goes out or there's a problem and I don't know about it because I'm busy doing something, people will try to contact me on the Discord because I do get notifications for that and I hear it going off in the other room. So that's all. I was just going to double check, make sure everything was still okay. I'll get to the comments and get caught up on everybody here in a minute. God damn, this water feels cold. I wonder if I put enough warm water in there or if it's just my hands making it feel cold. So the thing I was thinking about earlier about like human psychology and whatnot, it's just the way we perceive things. And because of the way we perceive something, we say it differently or we have to think about it differently or whatever. A good example is when I used to do house cleaning when I was a young man, we used bleach, you know, sodium hypochlorite, and I did pressure washing and I cleaned sidings and decks and stuff like that. And we had all types of different cleaning agents and chemicals and whatnot, except I was not allowed to use the word chemical in when I was doing my sales pitches and whatnot. You can't say chemical, even though water is a chemical. People hear chemical and they don't like it. That's a bad word. Dow Chemical actually changed their name, or their slogan used to be "Better Living Through Chemicals." Can you imagine if they still had that slogan, "Better Living Through Chemicals"? They've now changed it to "Better Living Through Chemistry," which sounds a lot better. But it used to be "Better Living Through Chemicals" because in the 50s, chemicals were cool. But by the 90s, chemicals were not. And so I had to say cleaning agents or detergents, soaps. I could say anything like that, but I could not say chemicals. And when we think about what I was thinking about today was the idea of dirted tanks and how everybody in the hobby refers to it as a dirted tank, because obviously if you refer to it as a soiled tank, it would take on a very different connotation. And I find that really weird because the definition between dirt and soil is simply that soil is what it's called when it's in situ, and dirt is what it's called when it's been displaced, or where if it's somewhere where you don't want it. So it doesn't matter the quality of it. It could be clay and sand mixed together. But if that's what your garden bed is made out of, that's the soil. If you are installing, say, a succulent or something in that terrible sand and clay mixture, it's soil while it's in the bed. And as soon as you dig the hole, the little pile you make next to it, that's dirt. Once you plant it and you put the stuff back in, once it's in situ again, it becomes soil again. It's the only difference between soil and dirt is it where you want it? Then it's soil. If it's not, then it's dirt. So by definition, what we have in our fish tanks is soil. In fact, we even often refer to it, I say planted substrate, but a lot of people talk about it as aqua soil. So it's soil, we call it soil, it's aqua soil, but it's a dirted tank. Like, you never hear anybody say put dirt in your tank. They always say put soil. And then as soon as you put soil in there, it becomes a dirted tank. And I just find that really odd. It just say put dirt in it if you think it's a dirted tank. Why not put a layer of dirt in there and then cap it with sand? Nope, you got to put a layer of soil in it and then cap it with sand. And then we'll call it a dirted tank after we put the soil in it. So I just find stuff like that weird. I can easily imagine if you had a soiled tank channel on YouTube, you probably wouldn't be a very popular YouTube channel. All right, with a little bit of time and patience, this is actually paying off. I think we're getting it fairly clean. This melamine really does the trick. It's just not, well, I was going to say it's not magic, but according to Johnson & Johnson, it is, or whoever makes, I think Scrubbing Bubbles is the name of the company. Although Scrubbing Bubbles might be Johnson & Johnson. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, that's that tank. So we'll let that keep filling. I'll get my hands dried off and we'll move on to feeding the next tank. And then I will get caught up on some comments. So where are you? You're over this way. All right, let's move on. And we'll have a look at that again once it's filled and settled in. I got the filter running and everything again. Not going to do it tonight, but getting time to redo the duckweed again. This tank does not take long to fully cover. If you're a regular viewer, you know it was just, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I got in there and skimmed the majority of that out of there. I didn't get it all. Obviously, I don't want to get it all. I like it in there. But I always use the mowing the lawn analogy. If you want a nice lawn, you don't go out and burn the grass. You mow it. It's going to grow back, and in a week, you're going to have to get out there and cut it again. But that's what having a lawn is. I like having duckweed in my tanks, and so part of that is knowing that every so often you got to get in there and remove some duckweed. All right, just threw some Vibra-Bites in there tonight. Woohoo, 27 people. We got a big crowd tonight. All right, let me see where the hell I was. Bob. Holy crap, I got a lot of catching up to do. Looks like it's all zini, though. All right, I was right around here somewhere. TK, how are you? Oh, it was foil. It was just aluminum foil, not tin foil. I saw a video today about the forbidden tinsel, and it was talking all about lead tinsel and how back in the day people actually used lead tinsel. And I just had to laugh because lead tinsel is absolutely the best shit ever if you want real good looking tinsel on a Christmas tree. I grew up with lead tinsel. I'm glad they don't have it anymore. And like the world was full of lead when I was a child. I came in contact with lead every day of my life when I was young. But man, it was good tinsel. Exactly. Zini eats lead and he poops out gold. Mike's going to get you one of these days, Zini. He's going to have you in his basement. He's going to have to say, wake up to Zine. Yeah, just because you say I'm going to harvest your organs doesn't make it consensual just because you told him you were going to do it. Grand Thumb Aquatics. Hello, welcome aboard. I already said hi to Bob. I don't know what to tell you. I guess that's green thumb, not grand thumb, now that I'm looking at it and my brain's working a fucking moment. Never had a full-grown severum, so I don't really know what to tell you on that, but somebody else here certainly might. Annabop, how are you? All right, let me see. A muddy tank, yeah. What do you mean my pants disappeared? I never wear pants on my live streams. That's part of my live stream is no pants. Gonna have a pants off, dance off. Young Stitches, hello. Some uranium foil, that would be a great hat, or plutonium might work. Fish Tropics, hello. Andrew, hello. All right, I am all caught up. No pants. No, I'm not cold. I have a diesel heater down here running, and it's about 78 degrees in here. Actually, let me get out my temperature gun and see what the floor is 73, and the upper part of the walls is 77 and a half. So I'm quite comfortable down here in my drawers. Thank you, Laura. Well, I don't exactly have a no pants rule. Like, if you guys want to wear pants, that's fine with me. I don't judge. But I ain't wearing any damn pants. All right. Let us start this tank with the fruit fly again. One of my regular viewers gave me some fruit flies, channel member. And I'm trying to go through them. I really don't like the live food, and it smells bloody awful when I open this container, and then I get flies all around the basement and everything. So I'm going to stick with the dry stuff after these are gone. But since I got them, I am going to use them. It was very kind of him to give them to me. Set me up a little culture and get me started. And they've been breeding like crazy in here. I made the mistake a couple times of like tipping it up to try to tip them out, and the food material for them, apparently, while it was kind of like solid, it was almost like a lard when I got it. It sort of melted and turned liquidy. And if I tip it up too far, it actually pours into the tank, and I don't want that. And again, it really smells bloody awful. Ugh. Smells like something died in there. All right, so they'll eat the shit out of them, and then we'll throw in some Viber bites for everybody else. I do have a discus in this tank at the other end. He'll make his way down. And then I got some fish living and sneaking, hiding around in all the plants at the bottom. I know you can't tell, but there's an entire log at the bottom of the tank underneath of all that shrubbery. And it's a hollow log, and so I've got fish that kind of live inside that log, inside the shrubbery. I want to bump on the log in the bottom of a pond. I don't think I would wear my underwear out to work, but I do wear it out to go get the mail and whatnot. I always laugh at my neighbor across the street. He pisses me off anyway. Most people have to worry about getting up at fucking early in the morning because the neighbors are running the leaf blower or the lawnmower or whatever. 8:30 this morning, Sunday morning, I wake up to fucking gunfire. And he wasn't out there like shooting for the morning like he does often. He'll be out there for an hour shooting or something. This was just like one magazine out of a handgun, just enough to like wake me up with a start and put me in a pissy mood, and then he was done. Like that was it. So anyway, I feel like 90% of the time that guy has ever seen me or talked to me, I've been in my underwear. Him and his wife will be out there in the yard or whatever. I go down to get the mail, like, hey, neighbor. And we get to stand there chatting or whatever. And I don't know. It never crosses my mind that I'm in my underwear right now, and they might feel uncomfortable with that. That's their problem, not mine. I'm comfortable with it. That tank looks so much cleaner. We're still a long way from done filling it. We got 6 or 7 inches left to go. Insert your own joke there. Oh God, I put my hands near my mouth and it smells like that fruit fly food. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. He probably got an early Christmas present or whatever. I can tell just by ear. He's got a variety of guns. I'll hear him out there shooting. He's definitely got at least one shotgun. He's got at least 2 different rifles, and he's got at least 2 different handguns based on what they sound like when they're being fired, the way he fires them, and that sort of thing. I still have no idea which direction he's shooting or what he's shooting into or what he's got set up for a backdrop. Like whenever he's out there shooting, I always just come inside. Not that my walls are necessarily going to do a lot to save me, but it's better than being out in the yard when he's out there shooting. Because again, I have no idea how competent or responsible or anything else that dude is. I just know he likes to go out there and shoot his guns all the fucking time. And he does the annoying, you can tell he's trying to like empty his clip as fast as he can. And I don't get the impression he's doing it because he's trying to be a sharpshooter. He seems like a fucking, idiot kid that got a gun for the first time and wants to look cool by racking a round off really quick, racking off a clip really fast. So somebody that shoots like that makes me nervous. I don't mind listening to the guys in hunting season, down the street or whatever, sighting their rifles in or whatever. That's just the practical, they're just sighting their rifles in. That's no big deal. They're not out just shooting in their yard willy-nilly for fun. Like this dude is. Yeah, he probably holds it sideways when he does it. Dumbass. I don't know. I'm just saying that he might be very responsible. He looks responsible. He's 28 or 29 years old, and his house cost $850,000. So he definitely has a responsible job. I don't know what he does, but he definitely has a responsible job because he makes the money. It's an 11-acre property. He's got 2 kids and a wife. She doesn't work. course, that doesn't translate into knowing fuck all about gun safety. All right, let's move on before I get up on my high horse any further. I knew I was going to have lasting repercussions from waking up like that today. That dude pisses me off. All right, we're going to get in here. Actually, let's feed him first, and then I'm going to... Well, no, that would make sense if I... fuck it. Let's just feed him first. It's not like you can't see what's going on in the tank. We'll get in there and get it cleaned up after they've ate. I want to keep paying attention to the other tank that's in the process of filling too. What about Nerf? I got a BB in the eye, so I'm somewhere in between Nerf and real gun. But I did sort of almost lose an eye to my BB gun back when I was 14 years old. And it's interesting. I've lived old enough now that my bad eye, which is the eye that my doctor was able to repair and save and whatnot, but I have limited vision in my right eye as a result of it. And my left eye has always been like super duper crazy pin sharp, like bionic eye kind of sight. And as I've gotten older, like I can still see like that in the distance. I can see feathers on a sparrow. On the other side of the yard, but anything up close, I just can't see shit anymore. And I'm actually getting to the point where my bad eye is beginning to be my good eye. I can actually close my quote good eye and I can see words on the page and stuff if I read. It's all blurry and hard to see, but I can read the words. They're not out of focus. I just have a bunch of shit on my eye and it's hard to see through it. But it doesn't mean it's out of focus necessarily. My good eye, my real eye that still functions naturally, is just out of focus. I cannot make the words focus to see what they say. It's not a matter of like I'm looking through gauze and trying to make them out through gauze. I can't make them out. They're just blurry. So I've lived old enough now that my good eye has slowly become my bad eye, at least in the near vision like that. Long range eye and a short range eye. Does your long range eye go when you look at something real far away? When I would do my eye tests and I would read the eye charts, we would get all the way down to the line that was for 2015 vision, and they would just stop testing at that point, even though I could read below that. I could read the line below that one. And they just said, there's no need to, like, your vision's fine. We don't need to continue testing. And so that, like, I've always had that kind of vision in my good eye. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, I had another dumb Doctor Who thing to talk about because I know how much everybody loves when I talk about Doctor Who. Just another goofy like trope thing that I noticed with that happens in movies, and I can't think of what the hell it was now. Oh man, the silver dollars are schooling up nicely. I don't know how well you can see that from this distance, but they're stacking up right in the middle of the tank. Mr. Fabulous is hanging out in there with them. So we'll have another look at that tank once we get it filled up and the fish settle down a little and the water clears up, get the filter running again. Nostalgia indeed. You're not old enough to be nostalgic yet, Zini, are you? How old do you have to be before you can have nostalgia? Let's ask the computer and see what it says. Computer, how old do you have to be before you experience nostalgia?
From WebMD.com. The word nostalgia means a sentimental yearning for the past that evokes feelings of pleasure with occasional notes of sadness. Derived from the Greek words nostos, return, and algos, pain, the word goes back more than 300 years.
Well, that didn't answer my question. That was interesting, but I knew all that. I just wanted to know how old you have to be before you can look back longingly on a past that you believe existed but didn't really. The vintage stuff. Yeah, I think it's interesting that it derives from two words of like looking back and pain. All right, let's get in there and get this filter cleaned out first because I can hear the air bubbles making their noises. I got all this Java moss in this tank, and it breaks loose all the time and makes its way around and gets caught on the filter intake, which eventually gets it more or less. Oh, I made it clogged up. And then the filter starts getting cavitation, and then I get air bubbles in there. And so it usually gets so bad that it's either like coming to a halt and stopping, getting a vapor lock, or tonight I actually got in there early enough to get it. And if you're noticing the bubbles on some of this Java moss and it's like looking like it's floating because it has the bubbles on it, that is not from pearling. That is just the bubbles that are blowing out of the filter, make micro bubbles in the water, and then they precipitate out onto the, Java moss and whatnot. So that wasn't pearling we were seeing. All right, I don't want to get started on the wiping of the glass just yet because we got about an inch of water to go, and I don't want to be in the middle of doing something when it's done because I'll get distracted. So let's move on. We'll have a look at the almost empty 29. Again, the bottom is where you're going to be seeing most of the action. The loaches will come out and start grubbing around on the bottom. I'm going to put some granules in there, which sink pretty quickly. So I do have the one tetra. It's a red blue Colombian tetra, and then I got the angelfish there, and then I got a clown pleco and some loaches on the bottom. So you'll see the loaches popping out soon enough. Nerf didn't exist? What do you mean Nerf didn't exist? Nerf existed when I was a kid, but when I was a kid, Nerf was like soft footballs and soccer balls and baseballs and stuff like that. It didn't become like a quasi militant company that sold like lethal machine guns and shit until like the late 90s, early 2000s. They decided to just go all in on making guns. But when I was a kid, Nerf was actually like balls and stuff that you wouldn't get hurt if you got hit in the face with a soccer ball because it was a Nerf ball. So Nerf has been around as far as I know my whole life. I don't know when Nerf was invented. You can find that out easy enough. Computer, when was Nerf invented?
Nerf was founded in 1969. It is 56 years old.
So, yep, I was 2 years old. Or Nerf was already 2 years old when I was born. I niced before you niced, Zini. If you're new here, Zini and I share a brain. I use it most of the time, but I do let him borrow it sometimes. All right, we are coming down the home stretch on the filling of the tank. Got a goldfish swimming up into the tower. Never mind, got a goldfish swimming back out of the tower. I think once they get more accustomed to that tower, they might swim up into it more. See, there's another goldfish swimming up into it. I saw a goldfish in there today, and he was swimming around in a way that gave me the impression he was kind of like checking out the room, almost like, hey, look, I've never been able to see this stuff before. It's always just been black, just black edges. I can suddenly see all these other fish tanks, and so they're discovering a whole new world now that they can swim up into it. There's 4 goldfish in it right now. Here, I got to do this quick because the tank is almost filled. No, there's 3, or is there still 4 of them in there? So the goldfish definitely get up in there quite a bit, whereas the koi, again, the only time I've seen the koi in there was that one time where it was really distressed. It did not like being in there, and it got back out, and I haven't seen them back in since. Anyway, I got to go turn that water off, so let me put you back on your perch. I'll leave you to looking at this tank for a few more minutes, and I am going to go get the water turned off. know, man. The hot water knob sometimes, like, I don't know if it's the expansion, the heat from the water, but it sort of works the knob back. And when I turned that off, the water was not nearly, I didn't have the hot water turned on nearly as much as I normally do. So I don't know how much cold water we actually put in this tank. Let me see what the temperature says. Temperature still says 76, which is what it's supposed to say. So I guess we didn't change anything. All right, power head is plugged in but not spinning. We give it a little whack. And we got the power head spinning now. It's still clogged up, but it is working, moving some water. We got the filter back on. Let me get the hose out of here, and we will call it good on the water change. All right, put that away, turn that off. And we're back. All right, let's do a little bit of wiping of the glass on the gourami tank. And I'm not going to bother with the melamine on this one. I'll just use a pad. Actually, let's start with this pad and just get a big old wipe of this grunge all in one go. This is all hair algae. And then this is all cyanobacteria. All right. I still got big globs of hair algae down here, but that's all right. The cyanobacteria is coming off the wall in sheets. So that's one of the things I'm going to do when we get in there and do the water change with the siphon hose. I'm going to actually try to strip a bunch of that cyanobacteria off the glass, as well as get it out of the, you know, Java fern and everything or Java moss that's here. It's growing all over the rocks. Really don't know what it is about this tank, but it is just, this is my cyanobacteria tank. It grows like crazy in here, and I've never ever been able to get on top of it. I gave up trying years ago. I just deal with it now. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great either. I've just made my peace with it. I don't worry too much about it anymore. It's not hurting anything. It just doesn't look great. But I'm not really trying to win any prizes or anything, so I don't worry too much about it. Yeah, we definitely got to get in here and do a siphon. I got this shit growing everywhere. Damn. All right, well, that was a lot easier than the other tank. But there you go. That's as wiped as it's going to wipe. Zany doesn't know what ornery means. Come on, Zany. All right, we're going to skip over this tank. I'll throw some food in it, but we are going to skip it for the video. And I topped this tank off, and I actually skimmed it and got all that scummy oil and everything, that biofilm that was growing on the surface. I got all that off. There was a bunch of crud mixed in with all the floating water sprite there. I got a bunch of that out of it. So let's get them fed, and then I'll actually wipe that glass down too, since we're standing here. You'd think this would be another tank where they'd go crazy for the little fruit flies, but they really haven't. And since it's an open top tank with all those floating plants, the fruit flies just climbed to safety almost immediately. And I got fruit flies crawling all over the tank and everything. And so I quickly found that the only tank I can really use those fruit flies in is the 55 with all those tetras. They go nuts when I put them in there. All right, let me see where I was. Yeah, Laura, I've given up on the stop signs. When I was a kid, my mother and grandmother pronounced it honery. So I grew up knowing, getting called honery all the time. It wasn't until I got older that I realized that that was my parents' fucking South Baltimore coming through. It's ornery is how most people pronounce it, but I grew up with it as honery. I've never actually looked up the definition of ornery to see what it says. So let's do that now and see what it says. Can't use my damn laptop anymore because it always defaults to fucking shitty ass Yahoo search. All right, let's see what the bad tempered and combative, stubborn. That's not really how I thought about it. So my parents were calling me bad tempered and combative. All right, that's fair enough. Stubborn. All right, I got to put my hand up to that too. So it's not that they were describing me inaccurately. I was just misinterpreting what they were saying about me. Oh, I'm gonna snort it on you. Let's see. All right, I'm still all caught up. I get a swig of my iced tea. Actually, I got to go in the other room because I didn't bring it with me. And I guess I'll spark up a joint, or let's do a dab, actually. God damn, I'm thirsty. All right, let's do a dab. And I'll also bring in a joint. Because why not? We can do both. All right, gonna scooze past you again. All right, let's move on, get the final tank fed. I'm going to do a dab while you guys are looking at this tank. I'm still working on that delicious Super Silver Haze. Look how naked and empty that tank looks. It used to be lush and full. Now it looks, well, it doesn't look sparse necessarily, but it looks a lot sparser than it did. If you missed Friday night's live stream, we got in there and removed a bunch of plants out of here. I actually managed to get all of that shit stuffed into a envelope and get it all mailed off in a single package. I did both the small and the large red tiger lotus, and I included all the foliage. I didn't trim it down at all. And I did 2 big chunks of the Java fern, and I did just a whole bag full of that crypt that I pulled out. I didn't do all of it because I couldn't fit it all, but I could barely stuff it in there. I couldn't get it in at first. I had to actually take it all out and take all the bags individually and like squeeze them down and press as much air out of them as I possibly could. They all look like they're vacuum sealed, and only doing that and mashing them down was I able to slide them into the padded envelope I mailed them in. So hopefully they'll ship okay, and the cold weather won't be too bad on them. But I don't think I did any damage by flattening them the way I did. I didn't hear any stems crack or feel anything break or anything, so we should be okay. And hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday they'll get them. They live out, I want to say somewhere out in the Midwest, so it shouldn't take that long for it to get there. A few days. but I did get them shipped off yesterday. All right, just heating up my dab straw here. Still using that glass one. It hasn't broken on me yet, so I'm happy about that. I really, really do like the glass one. So much nicer than the metal one. I really, really like the Super Silver Haze. Yeah, the stop sign, like I said, I've just kind of given up on the stop sign. Either nobody does it at all, or I got somebody just slapping stop signs up there at random intervals that mean absolutely nothing anymore. So, again, kind of killed the whole stop sign thing. It's good while it lasted, though. I don't get too attached to most things. In my experience, everything and everybody comes and goes eventually. Oh, if it's placed correctly, that's great. The problem is, Laura, is again, they so many get posted that I don't know whether they're real or not, and so it's nice if they're just only in the correct spots. But when you see stop signs every fourth comment, you don't know which stop sign to actually look at. It gets more encumbersome than in just ignoring them. Fish Tropics. Oh, I already said hi to you. And about I'm not really sure what the Super Silver Haze is considered, but the whole sativa indica thing is just marketing nonsensical. It doesn't matter. There's no plant out there anymore that's sativa or indica. They've all been crossbred and inbred and rebred so many times now that everything is some sort of blend of the two. And at the end of the day, the only thing that sativa or indica indicates is growth habits. It's just, it literally has nothing to do with what kind of buzz it gives you or how it makes you feel or anything else. An indica is a dense, compact plant that grows like squat, densey, thick, chunky buds, and a sativa is a branchier, more open, more lace leafy, less dense buds, etc. So that's what indica and sativa mean. It's literally just the growth habit. It has nothing to do with how it makes you feel or whether it's going to make you sleepy or energetic. Um, each individual weed does what it does, and you have to just find the one that you like the effects of. But you can't go by that indica or sativa thing. That's just a marketing bullshit, as most things in this world are. I can say, however, that the Super Silver Haze gives a really, really nice buzz. It is super mellow, totally chills me out, but no couch lock. It doesn't make me tired or drowsy. It's not like that kind of mellow. It just calms my brain down. It relaxes me. It just makes the racing thoughts calm down a little bit. It's just a really chill weed. I like it a lot, but I don't get any of the sleepiness or couch lock or anything with it. So I get the best of both worlds. I'm going to keep on ignoring them too. Got to pay extra for that. All right, everybody, let's go have a little look at the discus for a bit. I mean, the poor man's discus, the silver dollars. And I'm going to step back away from the tank long enough for them to chill back out. And you should see them start to stack up and do their schooling thing. So you enjoy looking at the tank. We can chat. And once we've had a look at that for a few minutes, then I will sit down in front of the camera. And approximately a third of you can piss off. Peasant discs. And I'm not telling you to piss off. I'm just saying that that's what you're going to do. I don't know why. I find it fascinating, but about a third of the people that are watching always bail when I sit down in front of the camera. I don't know if they just can't take all that handsomeness in one spot and it's too overwhelming for them. Or I guess it's possible that they don't give a shit about talking to me. They just want to see my fish tanks, and when they're done seeing them, they're out. But I do find it fascinating. I keep thinking tonight's Friday for some reason. Feels like a Friday. I just found out today that Christmas is this Thursday. How the fuck did that happen? I knew it was coming up soon, but I did not realize it was this week already. I cannot believe it's fucking Christmas this week. I'm having a hard time getting my head around that. We did go to the Walmart today. My wife went up there because she saw something that she wanted to get as a gift for a coworker, and it said it was $10. And when she rang it out, it was $20. So when she got home and went back and looked at what she'd purchased, because I swear it said $10. Apparently, if you purchase it online and pick it up in the store, it's $10. But if you just buy it off the shelf, it's $20. And so she purchased it online for 10, and we went back up to go pick it up. And then tomorrow I'm going to take the other one back and just get credit back on the credit card. And I've been talking about how dead all of the retail stores I've been going into and just how dead this holiday season has looked. Not today. We got up there. We had to like queue up and fucking, holding pattern around the pickup area. It's got like 15 parking spots for pickups, and we had like 7 people waiting in line in front of us just to get into a parking spot. We were there for probably 25 minutes waiting to get a pickup, just one thing. But we got $10 back for it, and we got to sit up in the Walmart parking lot and chit chat about people. I saw an awesome bumper sticker. It's actually on the side of her fender, not her bumper. It was a raccoon with his arms up in the air with a pentagram behind him, and the top of it said "Eat trash," and at the bottom it said "Hail Satan." I fucking laughed when I saw that. I got my camera out and rolled the window down, and I didn't realize the woman that in the car was sitting in the car. And so when she saw me pointing my camera at it and, zooming in on it, she rolled her window down. She's like, "You like my sticker?" I said, "Yeah." Me and the wife were laughing, and she's like, "Thanks." So when she left, we waved, and she waved back to us. So that was a fun little interaction. What are you talking about, Zini? Stuff. Do you have something to say? All right, everybody, here I come. Actually, I got to come get you first because you're all the way over there. But I'm getting ready for my sitting, so make your decision. Let me put my sharp knife away. Oh, you know what I did want to do tonight? And it's a little late to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I can trim it after the live show is over. We're going to open up my mushroom bag first, but I'm also going to harvest that massive giant bud. I meant to do that earlier. I kept thinking there was something I wanted to do before the show tonight because I wanted to have it trimmed and manicured so I could show it to you fresh cut and manicured, because the bud will shrink as it dries up over time, but right now it's absolutely massive. So I can cut it down and show it to you. It won't be fully manicured, but this bud is so big, it's not going to need much manicuring because there's barely even any little bit of fucking sugar leaf sticking out of it. I could probably just let it dry as is and it'll curl up nicely, and you won't even notice there's little sugar leaves on it. But all I'm going to do is go cut the cola off, the big bud from the top section. I'll show that to you. I'll do that first, and then we'll get to the mushroom bag. This thing is a fucking monster. I don't even know if my little trim scissors are going to cut it. I'm going to have to get some garden shears in here. All right, I want to cut it as far down as I can, so I got a little bit of a handle to hold. Now, these scissors are not cutting it. There we go. Jesus Christ, this thing weighs like a pound. Oh my God, this is so huge. Again, insert your own jokes here. Oh my God, this thing is massive. I've had buds this big before, but they're usually off of like 4 or 5 foot tall plants, not this little tiny thing I got in here. Let me get a few of those leaves out of the way. All right. This is too big to even hold upright. I have to hold it upside down. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. Are you ready? That fucking fly. That's up against my body. Is that thing fucking stupid looking or what? I mean, it looks like a joke. It doesn't even look like real bud. I feel like I'm holding a baby. Oh my God, I'm going to get so much weed off. This is just the cola. I still have all the branches and smaller lower buds and everything to trim off of it too. And all the lower buds are like as big as this one here is. You can see these 2 individual buds sticking off the side a little bit, make all that big cola. But my God, that thing is massive. I don't know what it weighs, but it probably weighs at least a couple of pounds. All right, let me hang this up, get it out of the way. Man, that made my night. I'm tickled about this. Got to use some of the stronger wire to tie this one up. All right, everybody, hang on. I'm working on it. All right, that should hold it. Jesus, that thing is huge. All right, we'll get the mushroom bag in a minute. Let me get caught up on some comments. Looks like a Grinch stick. The Grinch wishes. All right, let's open that mushroom bag tonight and see what we got going on in there. All right. So this is the bag. And you can see it still has that sort of speckly kind of look. You can see the substrate through the material. It's not completely white and cakey, although the bottom is very much more white and cakey than the rest of it. I was trying to wait for the top to look like that, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to. It just feels like this is done and it's not going to get any more, growth on the mycelium. So what we're going to do, the first time I did this, I made 2 little slits on the top on either side because I thought it was supposed to get very little air, but ideally it needs air circulation. It needs fresh air exchange. So what I eventually did was just cut the top all the way off. Like so. We'll have a look in there real quick. Oh man, that smells so mushroomy. So that is definitely ready. Now that I'm looking at it with the bag open, you can see that it's fully white. It's got water droplets all over it from the condensation. That is ready to go. So what I'll do now is you got to get the right balance between letting the air move in and out. It's got to get fresh oxygen in and stale CO2 out, but you don't want it to dry out. And so I take one of these little clips and I just kind of clip the middle of the bag shut like so, and it lets air go in and out of these vents, and I can open them up a little bit if I need to. And so that's all you need to do. Do this a couple times. It'll push some of the CO2 out and draw some fresh oxygen in, And where I set it in the other room, I have a fan, a gentle fan blowing in the corner, so it does move air around this. So I'll set that in a box with a light over it. It'll get 12 hours of light, 12 hours of dark. And in about a week, we will start to see some mushrooms growing in there. So tune back in next weekend, and we might be ready for a harvest or getting close to it. You'll at least see some mushrooms in there by next week, I'm assuming. Because the other one, when I did it, I didn't get any. I let it open for like a week, and I didn't see any growth at all. But that's when I had it like really closed up. And so I was going to put it back into darkness and sort of restart it. But I read about it, and I decided that my problem was the lack of air exchange. And so that's when I opened it up completely. And as soon as I opened it up completely, within days, I started seeing mushrooms developing. And so that was my problem. I just didn't open it up fully enough when I first did it. So again, about 5 to 7 days, we're going to start to see those mushrooms developing. And then once they start developing, it takes 3 to 5 days for them to, fully grow out. I watched a live stream the other night, and the guy was talking about mushrooms popping up. He was using it as an analogy of the way stuff was happening. He's like, oh, they're popping up like mushrooms. And he said, in case you don't know, mushrooms just grow overnight, and they just come out of nowhere. Like, I'm not kidding. They just, like, in 6 hours, they can go from spore to mushroom in like 6 hours, just overnight. And so I had to leave a comment saying it takes me about 6 weeks to go from spore to mushroom. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. 6 hours. I wish I could go from spore to mushroom in 6 hours. That would be awesome. But I do get it. It does seem as though mushrooms pop out of nowhere. But usually once they start growing, it takes a few days for them to really pop up, and they do continue opening at night. And so you might not notice the little bump in the grass or the little cap starting to develop. And then by the next morning, it's fully up and open. And it seems like it popped out overnight, but it really took days for it to fully open. Yay. Steve, did you miss my giant bud? I cut it down tonight and showed everybody like a few minutes ago. So if you saw it, I won't go get it again. But if you didn't see it, you got to see it. And I was also waiting for you to show up because I wanted to talk about my vape juice saga. I'll make it as brief as possible because I know the rest of you don't want to listen to a bunch of talk about vape juice and whatnot. But out of all the brands I've tried so far, they are really harsh on my throat. Some more, some less, but all of them have been harsh except for this one brand I've got that is just smooth as butter. It's delicious. I love it, but I can't find this shit anywhere. I've even gone online looking for it, and I just cannot find this brand. So I went to the vape shop that I got it at before, and he had one bottle left. And so I finally got another bottle. I was pretty much out. And so I have another bottle, and we had a conversation about it. And he said, now that he knows I like it, he'll stock more of it. But apparently nobody else likes it. He says the reason he doesn't really carry it is every time somebody buys it, they never buy it a second time. Just people don't like it. He said, I'm really surprised to hear you enjoy it so much. Nobody else seems to like it. So I said, leave it to me to pick I like the one thing that nobody else does. That's the story of my life. But I've tried the Monster products. Like those burn my throat the worst is the Monsters. And then I've also got the Pod Juice brand. And those are a little harsh on my throat. According to the dude at the store, he says it's because the really, really sweet ones put a lot of sugar and stuff in it. And that's what's burning off and it's burning into your coil, and you're getting the burning sugar. And that's where you're getting all that, irritation in your throat. So this one's pretty sweet. This is banana cream, and it definitely has a lot of sweetness to it, but it's just as smooth as butter, dude. Like you just don't even, it's like inhaling air. You don't even feel it going down. So that's the brand I'm sticking with, I think. It's called Cream. Technically, it's C period, R period, etc. But it's Cream is the brand, and you should try it. It's good. Oh, as long as you got to see it, that was the important part. If you came in after I was already in the other room hanging it up and you didn't actually see it, then let me know and I'll go get it again because I that was amazing. That was the most impressive bud I think I've ever grown. Definitely going to be growing more of that strain. I think that is Tropicana cookies, I want to say. Yes, that is a Tropicana cookies. And ye gods, is that thing a monster. One might even say a cookie monster. All right, everybody, we got at least half an hour left. I somehow have a wingless fruit fly crawling on my iced tea. And if I happen to notice the goldfish going up into the tower again, I'll turn the camera around for you. Just in case anybody missed it earlier. I'm back. Let me get my glasses. We can do some serious serious thinking tonight. Got my thinking cap on, put my glasses on so I look extra smart. There you go, Zany. There's one for the screen cap for you. Oh, let me see. The goldfish actually do frequent the tower. Got one in there right now. But the only time I ever saw a koi go into the tower, it got stuck. It didn't know how to get back out, and it got all freaked out and started thrashing around. And the koi really fills that space up. The koi are much larger than those goldfish, and the koi are even larger than I realized. Once I saw them in that tower, I realized how big some of those koi are actually getting. It wasn't even the big koi that was in there. It was only the white one, the yellowy white one, and the shiny white one, or the big ones, and that wasn't even who was in there. So I don't know if the koi are going to go up into that or not, but the goldfish certainly seem to enjoy it. I was saying earlier, you missed it, there was a goldfish in there today, and I swear I got the impression that it was like checking out the room and looking around like it was seeing all new stuff it had never seen before. So that was pretty cool. I can try to do a tinfoil hat emoji for you, Zini. All right. I am all caught up. I have never actually wrapped one of those like emergency blankets around me before. I have used those Mylar sheets, but I use it for like reflective material. I've never used it as an actual blanket. But based on how warm this thing is, I can imagine a Mylar blanket wrapped around you would make you warm really fast. It just reflects the heat, and the infrared radiation just reflects right back at you. And I got the shiny side out. Next time I have to go do some snow throwing, I might go out wearing this. Although I would imagine in a cold day or a cold environment, the tinfoil would probably make my head get colder faster. It would actually pull the heat out of my head. So it's a good indoor hat, though. If you're cold, definitely put a tinfoil hat on. Man, making me sweaty. But once again, worth it. Small price to pay for your amusement. All right, I'm going to spark up this joint now, and we'll see how that goes. Did I have anything else I wanted to talk about? We already covered the dirted tank thing. That's what I was thinking about when I was in the shower. Don't know why, but every time I light one of these cones, they always run. So I've gotten in the habit of really lighting them good and making sure I get all the edges going before I even start smoking on it. They still run on me sometimes, though. It's weird. Might have something to do with the way I pack it. Maybe I pack some areas too tight and other areas are looser, and so it burns around the tight part, and I get a run. I don't know. I'm surprised I didn't get a comment from my mother. She usually at least starts with the live stream playing to give me the view. And considering the way I started tonight's live stream, I'm surprised I didn't get a text from my mom saying, "What on earth are you wearing?" If I had the money, I would get wigs. I was talking to my wife about that again today, and she suggested going to Goodwill or maybe going to Party City or someplace like that, and I could probably find some really cheap ass wigs there. But I don't have any extra money to spend. I really had to think twice about wasting a piece of aluminum foil just to put on my head for a gag. So the idea of going out and buying a bunch of wigs just to do my live streams in different wigs, I think it would be hilarious. I could possibly write it off on my taxes. But I can't afford to go out and buy a bunch of different wigs to get, just for silliness. But oh God, that would be so hilarious. My wife doesn't think it would be funny at all. I don't know why she doesn't think it would be funny. I think it would be fucking hilarious. I actually have a flamethrower, and it's terrible at removing snow. It's not a flamethrower. I've probably got it right near the room. But that is what I bought it for. I bought it for melting ice out of my driveway. I do have it sitting right here. Thought so. So if you connect that to a 20-pound propane tank, it will blow a blue flame about 18 inches out the end of this thing. And then, of course, the heat goes way further than that. But even outside on a bright, sunny day, you can see blue fire for about 18 inches or 20 inches out of the end of this thing. It blows a serious fucking flame out of it. But it's shit for melting snow and melting ice or whatever. Throw some salt on it is my advice. So I don't have any idea what I'm ever going to use this for again. But I did have a hell of a lot of fun with it, learning that it was worthless to try to melt snow ice. We've thought about using it to kill some bamboo, like just burning the ground with the roots. And if we got the ground hot enough, it would kill the roots rather than digging it up. Most bamboo roots are pretty shallow, but some of them go pretty deep. And we'd also kill all the other grass roots and everything else in there. And so we've never really done anything with it. But I do have a flamethrower. It's the enigma factor, Zini. We've talked about that before. The greatest show on earth that would make Zini just be able to die a happy man would be if I did a show in my chaps one night. Like chaps in a tinfoil hat or just some silly costume get up like that. One can always hope. Darla, how are you? Or is that Darlak? however you pronounce it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but hello, welcome aboard. Darla. Okay, that's what I thought. Darla C or something like that. So, hello, Darla. I do believe Zini would go wild if I wore a shirt with the nip holes cut out of it. Because Zini's a freak. I've actually corrupted poor Zini. He used to be a sweet, innocent young man until he started talking to me. I've turned him into a monster, a zine monster. Damn it. That's another thing with these cones. They start developing an ash. I try to ash them in the ashtray, but they won't ash. I flick them and nothing happens. And so I go back to taking a hit on it. I take another puff, and then the ash falls off and falls on the floor before I can get it to the ashtray. Damn ash. You got to catch them all, right? That's not a request. Good, because I wouldn't know how to do that. Oh, does anybody want to guess my music tonight? It's a new band. I may have heard before, but I don't recall. The name didn't ring a bell. And I went upstairs, and my wife was listening to it while she was doing some stuff in the kitchen, and I was grooving to it. I really liked it. And she told me who they were, and I was like, okay. And so she sent me a couple of links, and I was listening to them this evening, and I was grooving on them. I don't think they're going to be a regular listen, but, you know, I'll tap in once in a while. If they pop up on my playlist, I'll listen to them. I was grooving on it. Don't know much about them. I did a quick wiki look on them. Don't know anybody in the band, but it is a, how was it described? A dance punk revival band. And I would even throw in an electronic dance punk revival band. It was groovy. I couldn't peg what genre, or what era they were from. Some of it sounded 70s disco. Some of it sounded 90s club. Some of it sounded 80s synth. But I was grooving on it. I liked it. They got their start in 2002 in Brooklyn, New York. And that's all I can really tell you about them. I don't know the names of anybody in the band, and I don't know anything else about them. But they got their start in Brooklyn, New York in 2002, and they are a dance punk revival band. LCD sound system, you nailed it. Zini wins. So again, the name sounds familiar, but when I listened to them, like none of their songs sounded familiar. Nothing rang a bell at all. But my wife usually has pretty good taste in music, and so like I said, when I went upstairs and heard it, I was like, I fucking like this. Did I say Zini again? I got Zini on the brain. Dark Knight wins. Zini wins the award for most Zini of all Zinis. Because nobody Zinis like the Zini. Look, I just made up an award for you, and you won it. So there you go. You should be happy. That's how it works now. Yeah. I wouldn't want to compare you to Rick, though, but I guess it is like the Rickest Rick. I'd forgotten about that. I do know what you're talking about, though. So you definitely are the Zenist Zine. Is that a band name? Yeah, excuse me. We'll go ahead and put this joint out. I did manage to smoke a hell of a lot of it before I got to the coughing part. No, I don't think I've ever heard of them. Maybe if I hear some of their music, it might ring a bell or something, but the name's not ringing a bell. But I will have to try to remember that and check them out. Let me see. Do we have anything else we can do real quick before the show is over? If not, I think I'm going to get on up into first positions. Let's top off the Gourami tank while we're in here tonight and getting some stuff done. We got 15 minutes. It's not like I'm going to be disrupting the tank or anything, but feeding it. I mean, like feeding it. Just going to add a little water. Let's point you down here at the goldfishies. I'm going to put a little food up inside the tower there again and see if we can't get somebody to go up in it for you. In fact, I'm also going to turn the spotlight on it for you. What I should do is put some floating pellets in there so they'll go up to the top and they'll have to go up in and get them. Be interesting to see if any of those koi actually go up in there. I'm pretty sure the goldfish will be up in there lickety split. Or they'll just hang out around the bottom and just get the stuff as it falls out. Either way, let me go get my hose and we'll top that Gourami tank off real quick. It only needs about a half an inch, but it'll be something to do. Give you guys your money's worth, get your full 2 hours. All right, let me get the water turned on. And I definitely don't need to worry about turning any hot water on for this one. It's pretty cool looking, isn't it? I wish I could get the camera lower. Here, let me try something. All right, what am I going to do here? All right, I got to turn you around completely. And then I can actually lower the camera like this. Ooh, all right, hang on, everybody. Going for a ride. And of course, the tripod is going to fall over if I do it like that because you're way out there on the limb. All right, you going to stay there? Nope, you're not going to stay there, are you? Let me crank that down tighter. You going to stay there now? Come on, work with me here. There you go. That's got to be tight enough. All right, perfect. And of course, by now, all the fish are going to swim back out of it. Oh, shit, I forgot I got the water running, so the tank's topped off. So worried about getting the camera set up, I almost had an overflow there. See how close we got it. Not too bad, but pretty close. Another minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it would have been overflowing for sure. I had about a third of an inch from the top. So the Gourami tank is nice and full. Of course, by the time, oh, I see a fish in there again. I was going to say, I finally got that stupid camera set up and the damn fish are gone. Damn fish. Oh, I hope that koi goes up in there. Look at the size of his head inside that thing. It's awesome looking. That koi looks absolutely massive. I hope he swims up in there. Oh, there he goes. He's the big one. That's not the one that got stuck in there this morning. You get an idea how big he looks when his head goes up in there. You can imagine he wouldn't want to swim all the way up into that thing or he'd look massive. I really hope one of them does, though. I think the koi that you can see there to the left is the one that got stuck in it this morning. Or was that yesterday morning? Yeah, I saw it. You sent me a link, Ark. I thought it was going to be a link to that music, but I'll check that out when the after the show's over. Oh, I really hope one of those koi go up in there. I'm assuming by now all the food's got to be gone. They're going to start drifting away at some point. You throw a little more in there because this is pretty cool. I haven't actually spent a lot of time watching it. I've been just sort of letting it sit in there and do its thing. I figured they would all get used to it. But now that we got everybody around, let's see if we can't get one of them koi up in there at least. Anybody taking bets yet? Oh, there he goes. Maybe. Oh, now they're both stuck in there. Shit. Oh, no, they were behind it. See, it looked like they were in there, but they weren't. Or maybe they were for a minute. I'm not even sure on that one. Well, I definitely think it's cool. I like it a lot. I'm glad I did it. That was a good idea, Art. That was this was Ark's idea. Everybody, you can give him a cheer of applause if you think this is pretty cool, because I certainly do. Here, let me do a couple puffs of my nicotine, and then I'll take the camera in my hand, and I can hold it at level. Oh, that koi's in there. That big one was in there for a minute. Oh, that little black and orange koi just went up in there for a second. You're going to do it? I just heard a really loud thump upstairs. I don't know if the missus has off work tomorrow or what, but she ought to be in bed by now. And that just sounded like somebody dropped a book on the floor. Probably the stupid cats. Come on, do it, do it. Do it. You know you want to. Those koi are just a little too big to go up in there, and they know it. You can tell they've been in there and have come back out. Go, do it. Come on. Damn you, koi. All right, everybody, I'm starting to get tired of holding this camera here like this. I got my head turned one way so I can see the monitor. And I'm holding the camera the other way so you can see the fish. Oh, look, look, do it. Come on, do it. Do it. Oh, he's so doing it. No, he's not doing it. Fucker. Those goldfish fucking love it up in there. Look at them all. I didn't realize I had so damn many goldfish in this pond. That's not even all of them. There's still a bunch swimming around. Holy crap. Oh, do it. Do it. He's not going to do it. Oh, is he going to do it? They're smart enough to just wait for it to fall and land on the edges of the plastic, and then they just eat it off the edges of the plastic without having to go in there. Cheeky little bastards. They know what they're doing. It's a busy ass tank now all of a sudden, isn't it? Here, I could come stand over this side. You got the light shining on them better. And I can hold the camera at a better angle. That is super cool. When I came down this morning and turned the lights on, there was a goldfish up in there hanging out in the dark. As soon as I turned the lights on, he drifted down out of the bottom and went and swam away. All right. That looks like everybody's done with the show. I tell you, as much as that, I know I've said this a million times now, but as much as that waterfall that I had down here was awesome, it just can't compare to this koi pond I've got. All right, let me get the tripod reestablished so I can get you back on it. All right. Here we go. And I think with that, we can get on into first positions. Oh, it's all full of fish again. Look at them all. I wonder if I'll get a damn koi going up in there at some point. All right, let's get you over here. Check that. Man, I tightened this one up way too much. Oh, there you go. All right. Yay, I got that out of the way before I donked my head tonight, because I always donk my head. Let me check that notification just in case it was something I need to know about. Oh, good. The cat is in. Oh, I bet that's what that thump was. It was the our sliding glass door for our back door is just old, and it doesn't really get stuck in its track, and it's just, you really got to put some arm into it to get it to close. And what I probably heard was the thump of the door closing. And my cat, little Oldman, was outside before the live stream, and my wife had gone to bed. And I had just established that he was still outside, so I was going to go check on him after the show was over, et cetera, et cetera. So she must have got up to pee or something and let him in. So the cat is inside, and I don't have to worry about it now. Yay. I know he's got like a thick woolly ass fur coat on, and he could probably stay out in sub-zero temperatures without issue, but it always worries me when he's outside on really cold nights. Although tonight's not that bad. Squeaker stayed out all night the other night, and it was like single digits. He was waiting at the back door first thing in the morning, though, ready to come in. Squeaker has stayed outside on some disturbingly cold nights before. Let's see. I broke the mycelium up several times when it was first getting started. As soon as I saw some white, I pushed it in with my thumbs and spread it around a little bit. And then when I saw that kind of growing in a little bit, I broke it up again. I did that 3 or 4 times. And then once I felt like it was fully done, it could have been another like 2.5 weeks and it would have been ready. But I've been kind of sitting on it for the last several days. And nothing it hasn't gotten any more advanced. And so probably a week ago, I could have started the fruiting process if I really wanted to. So after your final mix up where you've got it all thoroughly spread around, about 2 to 2.5 weeks, it should be ready to start fruiting for you. Well, damn it, my bowl's empty. All right, I guess we're going to do a dab. That's all right. I don't mind if I do. Still using my glass straw here. Get the lights turned out in a minute. We'll have some disco ball party to wind the weekend down. All right, we'll say goodnight to the Debs. Safely wore my hat tonight so my brain didn't get infected, so we're good to go on that. Turn some lights out. Now it's party time. God damn, my head is shiny. I didn't even shave tonight. It's got fuzz all over it, and it's still that shiny. I was just talking about that tonight with the Mrs. Steve. Talking about those all those other vape oils I have that I don't like now that I got this brand that I like and I know I can get, a steady supply of it. I got all these other bottles that and my wife just said, well, just give them to Steve. And I was like, yeah, I will. But I mean, when am I going to see Steve again? Next spring? And she's like, yeah, maybe. But next spring will be here before you know it. And I'm like, yeah, that's true enough too. So I got some of that stuff for you. Plus I'll have some weed and all that hash oil. I can make a batch of cookies and shit. So we'll get together. You let me know when's good for you. I'm the one with the flexible schedule. Christmas Eve through January 5th. Nice. Yeah, you let me know when's good for you. I might try to get some spraying done on Thursday, but usually it's the week between Christmas and New Year's that I got to get it all done. So I might have to go out spraying on Friday or so. I don't know. It's going to have to see how the weather goes this week. I got to get my damn customers away from being all bunched up at the end of the month and spread them out more. Anyway, that's another conversation. Yeah, we'll get together. Give it a couple more weeks and I'll get some mushrooms for you. Did you ever get rid of those other ones? Did you ever eat those other mushrooms? And I'm really curious if you ever did anything with those mushrooms that I overheated, because I'm sure they were useless. So I don't know if you ever did anything with them or not, but I'm pretty sure they were pretty much done, dead, cooked. What a waste. It was like over an ounce of mushrooms, and I just ruined them by overheating them. And I'm waiting for your response if you were wondering. I know there's a lag time. I'm going to go grab a swig of iced tea while I wait. And anybody else, last final thoughts or whatever, I can always text conversation with Steve later. So if he doesn't answer me or whatever, that's not a big deal. Or if I miss the answer and say goodnight before he gets around to it, that's not a big deal either. So last thoughts, final questions, comments, last chance to make a donation. And I will say, if you're not a member already and you'd like another third live stream every week, I do a private members only live stream on Wednesdays. And so for $2.99 a month, you'll get access to that. And you'll also get access to my Discord server, where apparently there's a big community of people and whatnot. I never really do anything on the Discord, but other people do. So there's a community over there you can be a part of. And it is only $2.99 a month if you're interested. The Dan Deacon video. Oh no, I meant to look at that. I saw it when you sent it at a weird time. When I saw it, I made a mental note about how I was going to look at that later, and I never did. So no, I do know what you're talking about. I'll check that out tomorrow or maybe tonight. I don't know, but we'll give it a listen, see what it's like. No, did I listen to that? I think I did listen to it. And what was my conclusion? It sounded like a mix of two different kinds of music to me. Oh, that's going to kill me now, because I remember thinking, like, I'm going to have to tell him this, and I don't remember what I was going to tell you now. Shit, I'm going to have to listen to it again so I can tell you now. But I wasn't really that into it. It was all right, but I don't think I'd ever listen to another one. But I had a specific description of what it reminded me of, or what it sounded like to me. It was like a blend of two different bands, and I can't think of what it was anymore. So again, I'll give it another listen and see what it says. You still got those other ones? Damn, I don't know how you hang on to mushrooms so long. I go through them fast. I do love me some mushrooms. I don't eat a lot of them at once, but I do eat them frequently when I have them. So, all right, everybody, I got my question answered. You've all had your last little trying to understand the words. I swear, I know I listened to this. I do remember, and I was listening to the words, and I'm going to have to listen to it again because this is going to bug me now. So, all right, everybody, I will catch you members on Wednesday, as I already said. Again, if you want to join, it's $2.99 a month. You can go to any one of my videos and just go below it. There's a little button that says join. It's not the same as the Patreon. I do have a Patreon, and if you want to sign up and donate, that's great, but I don't actually do anything on my Patreon. The join for the YouTube channel membership is what you're looking for, and that'll get you access to the Discord server and the members live stream, etc. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight, everybody. I did have a good time. So did my tinfoil hat, and hopefully so did Zini. So I will see you guys either Wednesday or next Friday at 8 p.m. So long, and thanks for all the fish.